Hey guys, and welcome to the episode number. I don't even know what the episode number is, but welcome to the episode. And the question for today is, how do you create major changes in your life, whatever area that is? How do you create major changes in the area of your life that you want, and how do you sustain them? And how do you practice more joy and more love and more energy as you make those changes? So because those three things are the core things, right? You need to have joy, you need to have happiness, you need to have fulfillment, and also you need to have the energy to do the task that you want to do, and you need to obviously love. It's a big one for me. I don't know if it is for you, but I think for me it's such a big emotion, love. And I'm a love butt. You can call me that. But first, let me tell you a bit of a backstory. This is we are going to talk about all of those things in this episode. But first, let me tell you a bit of a backstory, and also I'll ask you to go down and hit that subscribe button, because we're gonna have some awesome fun today and in the upcoming days. So once you've done that, you're back. Okay, hey, hi again. So my question to you was, how do you create changes, and how do you sustain them, and how do you sustain your happiness and your fulfillment while you're making those great dramatical changes in your life? But how do you create them in the first place? And I want to tell you a bit of a backstory, and that is, I changed my health. I changed my health big time. And I was that person who slept for 14 hours. And even when I slept for 14 hours, I was tired when I woke up. I was tired. I don't think that I needed a diet plan in like all of my life. I thought like whatever I get, I can eat. And sweets were like a big thing for me. I love cake. I do love cake, even now. I'm ashamed of myself. I do love cake, and I do love ice creams and all of that stuff, but I have, reduced my intake of them. The thing is, I have made quite some changes in my health. I have started working out. I go to the gym 4 times a week, and I was that guy who slept for 14 hours, and still he was tired when he woke up. Now I sleep for only 7. So how do you make that change? Like, how do you go from a place where I was sleeping 14 hours, eating junk food, and doing all of that, and still feeling tired and having no energy to the day in the day, to having extreme amounts of energy and being fit. I am fit. Being fit and creating the kind of change that you really want. How do you do that? And my answer to you is only one. You lead with intention. In any area of your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your business, whatever it is, and your life as a whole, you need to lead with intention. You need to have more intention. Because you see, the life that all of us live is just a life of reaction. We are reacting, to be really honest with you. The social media is a big place that we go for reaction and distraction. But first, let me share with you something that I think is so profound, and that has helped me so much. We are not focusing on life. We are not aware of the fact that we are alive. Like, how can that even happen? Like, you are not aware of the fact that you are alive unless I told you to right now. And what you're doing is, if you're like most of the people, what you're doing is you're just going through the motions, right? You're just going through the motions, and life is just happening, and you're not living it intentionally, and you're just thinking that there's some external force in your life that's controlling your life. If that's you, I want you to go into the comments and type yes. Because I know there are a lot of people out there, because I was one of those person. I was the guy who would wake up and watch YouTube videos all day and still cannot spend his time. Still has so much time, I couldn't know where to spend it. And when this big lockdown thing happened, when the COVID hit and the whole country was going lockdown, you cannot go outside, you can't do anything. I was an introvert. I stayed inside. I was excited at first. I was like, oh my gosh, bring it on. I'm going to create more videos. I'm going to put out more content. I'm going to grow. I'm going to do this. But the reality happened. And, I was just like most people. I was stressed. I was depressed. I could not do anything. And I procrastinated heavy for like 3 months. I procrastinated. Really honest with you guys. I procrastinated. But what happened is the lockdown was a big hit to my face of what's real. See, I was a guy who always thought that I work on internal pressure. There are 2 kinds of pressure: the external pressure and the internal pressure. The external pressure is that pressure that it's put onto you by some external force, and the internal pressure is that you create yourself and you move yourself to do tasks that are uncomfortable to you. I always thought that I'm a guy who worked on internal pressure, but the lockdown was a really big moment of realization to me, because if I worked on internal pressure, why am I not creating that? And when my college is closed, I hate college and I hated going there, but that was a form of pressure to me, right? I was going there, I was having pressure, and I was creating videos every single day. I was getting ideas, I was creating videos. And for 3 months I procrastinated. And the reason is because this lockdown, it was a big hit to me, right? So I became more clear on what's inside, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it that much. So I distracted myself with all of these things, these games, these YouTube videos, and this procrastination mainly, so that I can be distracted from the stuff that's inside. Why do you think people are put into jail as a form of punishment? Why they're locked up alone? So that they can be trapped with the stuff inside. Why do you think social media, why do you think that we spend so much of our time looking down at the damn cell phone thing? It's just because it's a form of distraction, right? Majorly. It's because it's a form of distraction. It distracts us from the garbage that is inside. I'm sorry for using that word, but that's true. There's so many things inside that are not there, that are not at the place where we want them to be. And to distract them, and it's not just social media. Social media is just one tool. You go to work, you go to job where you don't like, but you just go there so that you can distract yourself, you can get yourself busy. I have a friend, who does this. She would go to job, she would do a job. I know her like very closely. She would do a job, and she would go to university, and she would sign up for things that she don't like, but just she'll sign up just because she's not happy with the stuff that's inside. And that breaks me. I try to make these people realize that you need to realize that you have to spend more time with yourself. That's how I got out, not by distraction. We live this life of distraction and reaction. We are distracting ourselves from the stuff that's inside, and when something that comes in that hits our stuff, like that matches our stuff, we react to it. Either we react happily, or either we react sadly. I mean, it's a good or bad reaction. And in most cases, it's a bad reaction. And even if it is a good one, you can't rely on those things, that external things, to happen to make you happy, because they're not going to happen forever. You have to take the charge back. And the only way you can do that is live more intentionally. Live more intentionally so that you can stop distracting yourself and stop reacting. Stop going to the job that's not fulfilling you anymore. That's just a form of distraction, and you don't love that. You have to change that, right? Anyway. So that is the key I have for you. Like, live intentionally. Create your own life, even if it feels like right now that your life is created by external sources. External sources like your boss, or your spouse, or your kids, or your parents, or your college, or your school, or your university, and all of these things. You think that these things control your life. You can't do anything. But the truth is, you have given the control over to them. So they're like a form of distraction to you, and you react to them. And you can't create unless you're reacting. You can't create unless you live intentionally. I just messed that up, I'm sorry. You can't create when you're reacting. You can only create when you're intentional, right? When you're intentional about, okay, this is what I want for the day, this is how I want it to turn out, and this is how I want to do this. This is how I want to take my life, right? This is where I want my life to be. This is how I create an extraordinary life. That's how I'll do it. It's not by reacting. It's not by distracting. That's bullshit. The only way I'm going to do it is if I am more intentional to what's inside of me. And how do you become more intentional? You have heard me say the word intentional over and over again. But let me tell you, how do you become more intentional? There are 2 ways, 2 tips that I'm going to give you. If you practice them every single day, you're going to feel like you're more in control of your life. And when you feel like you're in control, you can change anything, right? Just like I changed my health. The change in my health, it came from when I realized that this is what's inside. Just after that procrastination period, I started working out. I started working out for 2 months in my home, and then I joined the gym because that's what I wanted to do. Everything was back up again. I joined the gym, and I go to the gym every single day for 4 days a week. And I eat well. I take care of my diet, and I sleep well, like 7 hours, not more than that. And the energy I have during the day, it's awesome. How do you do that, right? How do you create that? The only way I created that was I became more intentional. And being more intentional sometimes hurts you, sometimes it's painful, sometimes you get up with, you come up with stuff that you don't like that's inside of you, and that's okay. That's okay. That's part of it. You have to accept it. Accept everything as it is, and then you can change it. Just be more focused about what you want out of this life, and what you can give in this life. And when you when you become more focused about that, there's nothing that can stop you, because you take the power away from the external world and you take it to yourself. You create your life, you create life on your own standards. That's how you do it. That's the first step. That's where you start. Okay, so this is the tip that I want to give you. Do this rocking chair test. And a rocking chair test is where I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine yourself 80 years, like 80 years into the future. Like, if I hope you live that much. You are at 80 years of age, and you are in your rocking chair, and you're looking back at your life. And you're looking back at your life, you basically have two answers. Either I lived my life to the fullest, and I enjoyed everything, and I loved my life, and I'm happy to go. Or either I left stuff out, I was fearful, I did not take action on things I wanted, and I didn't even know what I wanted. And I lived in distraction and reaction, which is a formula for disaster, and I am not ready to go. I need another chance. Either you live in an ecstasy at that age, or either you regret your life. So what is it that you choose? Just close your eyes, and I hope you really choose the first one. And when you see your life, when you reflect back, what are the things that you see that you have accomplished? What are the feelings that you have lived by? What are the accomplishments that you've done? What are the things that you have contributed in this life? If you feel like you've really lived a meaningful, deep, and happy life, not just the surface life, but a deep life which has meaning to it. Do that rocking chair test. It will clear so much things out for you, and it has for me. I've done that rocking chair test again and again, because it gives you a perspective of life. It gives you a perspective of what you want out of life. That's what I want you to be clear on. What are the things that you want in your life? Amazing story by amazing guy Brendon Bouchard. I know you. If you don't know Brendon Bouchard, I don't know what you're doing online, because he's like the king. So Brendon Bouchard is one of the top. I think he's the top 10 coaches in the personal development area, and he's so great. And you know what opened him to this gift of life is that I think when he was in his 20s or 18s, I'm not really sure. I'm sorry, Brendon, if you're saying this. So he was in his 20s and he had a car accident. And before the car accident, he was suicidal. Yeah, and he was suicidal, meaning he's not thinking about it, but he was planning the suicide. And he was doing all just because his girlfriend left him, and his whole identity was tied into that relationship, and the relationship broke, and then he fell down, and he was just planning to take away his life. He was involved in a car accident, and he was like, that's it. They thought they're gone, he and one of his friends. And that accident changed his entire life. That accident, I'm rephrasing the story as I've heard from him. That accident changed his entire life just because he was open to that. When you are dying, you're going to ask yourself some questions, like, did I live intentionally? And those questions will be all for, did I live intentionally? And for him, those three questions were, did I live, did I matter, and did I love? These three questions. And you're going to ask some questions when you die too. So what are those questions that you're going to ask? And what if you don't live intentionally? You're going to just have that moment any day, and you're just going to pass. But you will not really live, right? You have not lived intentionally. You have not lived the life that you want. And I don't want that for you. I want you to have that feeling of contribution, have that feeling of love, and have that feeling of joy when it's your time. And I want that. I want that for me too. That when it's my time, when I have to go, when it's like I'm so close to death, I want to have this feeling that I have lived a meaningful, deep life, not a surface life, but I have lived a deep life, and I have lived intentionally. This is the first thing I want you to do. Do that rocking chair test. And the second thing I want you to do is just be more intentional throughout your day. And the way you can do that is, when you start your day, plan your day. The way you plan is, ask yourself, what are the feelings that I want during this day? How do I want to feel during this day? How do I want to feel during this day, and what are some of the accomplishments? What are some of the things that I want to achieve during this day? So that you can be more, it's like when your mind has a target. Again, I have told this story so many times. When your mind has a target, your mind is like a missile. And even if the target moves, your mind is going to hit it. It's like a modern missile. That's what your mind is. So give those targets to your mind. Give those targets for your feeling. Give those targets for your achievements. And also what I would like you to do is have a target for contribution. Ask yourself when you're starting your day. Ask yourself, what can I contribute this? Not a big thing. I don't want it to be a big thing. It can be a smile. It can be a thank you note to a friend. It could be a 5 minutes call to a friend that you have not talked with for months. And just do those little things. Those little things matter, and that's how you become more intentional. That's how you feel more joy. That's how you feel more love. That's how you feel more ecstasy in your life, and that's how you live more intentionally. By setting the tone for your day, you're gonna notice that you are more intentional, that you feel more alive, and you are really feeling the fact that you are alive. It's not like you're just going through the motion and things are happening to you and you're reacting and you're distracting yourself with all the shit that's coming to you. You're really intentional about what you want to do, and you really do that. So please give that gift to yourself. I want you to give that gift to yourself, and I pray that you have an awesome story. I pray that you have an awesome life. That when you're in your 80s, you really live your life. You have really lived your life to the fullest, and you've had an awesome life. And that's what I want for you. And if you love this episode, please go down and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.